There's a lot that I'm kind of willing to overlook with Baylor football if they win games. And right now they're not winning games. And Saturday night's catastrophe against Utah, 55-28 on your home field, is just another in a long line of examples of this coach not getting it done. The Dave Aranda tenure just going downhill year by year by year. And red flags have been there for years. The only people not seeing them or not giving half a fecal matter is the Baylor administration. Mac Rhodes, Linda Livingstone. They're choosing to not care and just keep it status quo, run it back, let's see what happens. You're seeing what happens here. And by letting a lot of things go, I don't mean kind of Baylor's history. What I mean is, I don't care if Dave Aranda does Berenstein Bears and doesn't, and appreciates the question and talks at a tone that's even lower than this. I don't care. If they're winning games, I don't care. If McLean Stadium has 5,000 visiting fans, 10,000 visiting fans every game, but Baylor's winning, I don't care. I don't care what the uniforms are. I don't care what the game day atmosphere is. If they're winning, but they're not. What I'm not willing to overlook is them continuing to embarrass the university with these scores. That's what I'm not willing to overlook. And that's what the athletic department should not be willing to overlook. But here, what you have is, again, this proclaimed defensive guru. I'm using it. I'm quoting other people here because I'm not supposed to use the term on the show. But Dave Aranda is supposed to be a defensive guru. And this stat came out on Saturday night that is so damning that I don't understand how any institution or athletic department in this great country with any kind of pride, any kind of shame can ignore it. It's from our man Sherman Young, the great Sherman Young, Baylor alum, busting with the boys, friend of the program, all-time Baylor fan. And he puts this out there. Points that I'll read it because a lot of you are listening. Points Baylor's 2025 opponents scored versus them and how those total marks rank for the opponents' point totals versus Power 4 teams. So is this the most they've scored against a Power 4 team? In the case of Auburn, 38 points. Yes, that's first on their schedule. TCU, 42. That's second. Utah, 55. First. Cincinnati, 41. Second. Kansas State, 34. Third. Only bronze medal on the list, by the way. Arizona State, 27. First. SMU, 45. First. And it doesn't even include Oklahoma State, 27. First. How does any athletic department see that and say, run it back? Let's do it again. Let's do it again. How does any athletic department say, you know what, next week, we should have him out there. We should have him coaching up our defense. Teams are breaking the mold. They are busting through the glass ceiling of what they can do offensively when they see Baylor on the schedule. That is your head coach calling the plays defensively. It is an abject disaster. Like, we're not talking about, oh, Cam just has too high of standards. He's just bitching and moaning here. No. Look at this. Look at these stats. Teams have the best days of their season when they play us. It's crazy. Outside of UCF, they're all having career days against Baylor. How much longer do you let that happen? Baylor's played 10 games this year. I just gave you 8 of the teams. The only ones not listed are UCF, your best defensive performance, and Samford, an FCS team. The worst part about all of this on Saturday was that Baylor was not only coming off a bye, they were coming off their best performance of the year. Far and away their best performance of the year. And they gave up 55. They got Abraham Lincoln at Gettysburg. They lost by 4 scores. Like, at the risk of sounding like a broken record, what more do you have to see? And again, I'll bring up what people have said to me in the past. Cam, if it doesn't happen at 3-9, what makes you think it's going to happen now? But there's a good chance they miss a bowl game here. There's a really good chance they're not going to be favored in either of the next two games. It's going to take an upset to get there. The team you got next on the road, Arizona, they just went up to Cincinnati and won. You know, you looked like a JV football team going up to Cincinnati a couple weeks ago. Arizona just went up there and won. They beat them. They beat that team. And you think Baylor's going to beat them? I'd love to believe, man. But this program has just become the X-Files. I want to believe. I want to. But how do you believe in this? How do you believe in this stat right here? This is the most damning stat I've seen of maybe the whole Dave Aranda era. Worse than their record against Power 4 teams at home. Worse than their big game record. Worse than all of that. Worse than the 5-5 record with this kind of talent they have, this NFL talent they finally have on the roster for the first time that Dave has recruited guys that are actually going to be NFL prospects, and still they can't get out of their own way. Still, it feels like the lowest point of the 2020s. It's because of stats like this. This defensive genius who every offensive coordinator in the country loves seeing coming on the schedule. Just loves it. Oklahoma State, still one of the worst teams in the Power 4, still the worst team in your conference, had their best day out when they played you. You know, Auburn fired their coach, fired their offensive-minded coach because they can't score points. 38 on you. Best performance of their season. They didn't even do that well against Arkansas. Give me a break, man. This is not just because Utah's number 13 in the country. And I get it. They're kicking everyone else's butt too. But look at that. 38 points to Auburn. 41 to Cincinnati. Like, this is just, it's depressing, man. It's depressing. I don't understand how an administration that supposedly cares about football just says, we got to keep this guy. And they've pigeonholed themselves into being late on a coaching hire. Again, even though there are coaches out there who do want to come here. But they'll say, you know what? We'll fire somebody else. It'll be somebody else's fault again. And what we got to do is get Dave a defensive coordinator. He's got two of them. He's got himself and he's got Matt Powledge. And this is the result of it right here. Oh, well, they just don't have the players. Whose fault is that? Whose fault is that? Because I've seen that excuse. Baylor just doesn't have the players. Great. Whose fault is that? The same guy who's calling the plays on defense. That's who. It's his fault. You can't give him credit for hiring good assistant coaches like a Jake Spavital and then say, well, they don't have the players, because that's his responsibility as well. And if he can't handle that responsibility, then why don't you do what we've been begging for years now and move the F on? Get somebody else who can do it. But this stat right here, what other teams do to Baylor's defense, that can't be acceptable anywhere. And yet we're in the upside down. It's acceptable here. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. What is the worst stat of the Dave Aranda era at Baylor? If you've got another one, let me know. Thank you to Sherm. Thank you to Sherm for putting that out there. It's a great stat. I wish I had done the research myself, honestly. It's that good. But these teams, they just have their field days against Baylor. They love seeing Baylor on the schedule. There is going to be a bank run whenever the schedule is being made for next year. Everyone falling all over each other saying, can we get Baylor on homecoming, please? Please, God, please. Like if they can, Baylor will be playing 3 straight road games in the middle of October for everybody else's homecoming because they see this. It's a joke. It's a joke of a program right now, and it's damn unfortunate because it doesn't have to be. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. Be sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel. It's the #1 Baylor football show on YouTube and the #1 sports podcast network in the world, Locked On Podcasts, your team every day.